All right, here we go. Here's the launch. Oh my gosh. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we're not trimmed very well. A little more reflex. It's the 6S Juggernaut. Flying in my backyard here. It's got a Vector in it. This was my original. This is the second Juggernaut I built like 2 years ago on 4S with a Vector. Flew great and everything. And then Sean Krantz and I had a challenge to build a 6S Juggernaut, and he obviously beat me to it. So I've had it built since last summer, and I finally decided to go ahead and maiden it. Let's see here. I'm still trimming, it looks like. 50 miles an hour there on the left ladder. 3.6 amps is what I'm drawing right now. I've watched this a few times. That looks like a really good number to hit, is about 3.5 amps. And you can cruise at about 45 miles an hour. Here's like a faster cruise, which you'll see me do multiple times, is about 7 amps. This setup will go clear up to 100 amps at about 2,000 watts. That's on the ground, so some of those amps will be given up in the air. So it's probably less than 2,000 watts. I have not ventured out very far in my backyard, but there is some agricultural land, even though I'm very close to town. This is a huge new walnut orchard that just went in by a guy named Crane. That's his last name. Big rich guy in this area. Owns a lot. Anyways, big wide open. It's line of sight directly from my backyard by the creek there. And yeah, I'm out, 3,000 feet. I turn around. I'm just using omnidirectional 1.2 on a goggle module. 250 milliwatt VTX on the plane. It's the old Fat Shark style ones, International Fat Shark, whatever. Anyways, I turned around because it's like, all right, I just maidened. I don't want to lose it right off the bat. I could probably recover in this field fairly easy, but it would involve getting my pickup, driving all the way around. I'd got to go over like 2 bridges, jump some fences. Not too worried about it. It would take some time though. With all the telemetry that I'm pulling right now, recording DVR, longitude, latitude, last known location, and I have all that telemetry. The vector telemetry goes back to my Tyrannus, and is displayed right there on the screen. This is my neighbors I'm flying over. It's an abandoned almond orchard. And I'm venturing out down the creek. Again, I was not very confident just running omnidirectionals. But I think I have a pepper box set up that would be pretty good. I should be able to do a few miles in my backyard while being very, very safe. This is a chute that I found a few weeks ago. There's a deep, deep crevice down here. It still has water in it. Obviously, I'm not getting very low with this big 4.5 to 5 pound bird. I've been flying lighter wings the last few months, and yeah, this thing is like kind of a little sluggish in the air. It's kind of a bigger boat. It's definitely heavy. It wants to throw. Any maneuver you do, it's trying to throw, and it kind of overshoots and slides a little bit. I need to turn. I got way too much expo. It's really like mushy sticks. I want them a little stiffer. Okay, so this is 16, 17 amps. I mean, 73 miles an hour, no problem. I'm not trying to really stress the system, but I'm under 20 amps there, and I'm cruising, like 70, 80 miles an hour. That right-hand roll there actually looked really good. I didn't see any weird tendencies of the wing. I still need to recenter all my trims and do that mechanically. I'll do that later. Alright, here's 0 throttle. There's 1 amp. Looks like I'm drawing, so I've got a little bit of input in there. Chickened out, and so I just spike up to 10 amps. And yeah, that's about it. I'm testing out this Zoom recorder, the H4n Pro handy recorder. I want to start playing with some audio, whether it's music or singing or background noises, ambient sounds, something, or just chatter, people talking in the background. Gonna play around with it a little bit. And it's way more convenient than the other systems I have, which are have to be hooked to a computer. It involves preamps and microphones and all that stuff. All right, there's 46, 47 amps. Hit 100 miles an hour, no problem. At 40 amps, and that'll start pulling that battery down pretty quick. Start warming things up at 40 amps. It will do. I don't think I did it at all in this video, but I've pulled 80, 90 amps, almost 100 amps, just for a short period of time, and it does fairly well. There's that 7 amp cruise again, which is, like I said, kind of a faster cruise, but that's just sipping the battery. I got to play around with that a little bit more, but I think the sweet spot's going to be about 3.5 to 4 amps, and I should be able to just kind of like cruise. I got to be careful that I don't. Well, right there, I got down to like 38 miles an hour, and it still made the turn without a tip stall. So there we go, 3.5 amps right there. 44, 45 miles an hour, and I remember this part of the flight. This felt very comfortable. That's a pretty good cruise. And I'm hardly using any battery at all. I have a 3300 milliamp hour 6S is what I run on this wing, and then my 5D from Team Legit. Exact same setup, same motor, same ESC. I put a different motor in it recently. I haven't tested that yet. I have to finish the nose job on the 5D, but I put a slightly larger around motor. This is a 28. I think I have a 36 in the 5D, but I haven't tried that yet. I'm worried about it just torque rolling, but similar KV. All right, 5.5 amps now. Let's see here, 5.6. Just kind of, yeah, cruising right along. Looks good. Looks locked in. It's not perfect by no means. It's just kind of a purpose-built, long range, low to the ground, fast. This is for out in the rice fields where it's all open and it's kind of boring. But it can do a little bit of proximity. This would not be my first choice for doing tight proximity. I would just, whatever I would be trying to hit, I would probably just crash. Overshooting, like I said. I find my firm core at 2.5 pounds to be amazing. My Defiant 28 does amazing at like 425 grams. The Team Hazard 42 is kind of like a jack. It kind of does everything. It's about 3.5 pounds, and it'll slow down very, very well. And it's really smooth flyer, and it goes really, really fast too. It can keep up with much bigger airplanes if it has to. I'm sipping on a Sierra Nevada Tropical Torpedo IPA, and that's about it. Going over here over the house, up, cut back, serial throttle, just kind of coasting down. When you have a heavier wing like this, you hit the throttle, you don't slow down. It just kind of carries that momentum, just keeps kind of going. I noticed this the first time I flew with some of the other Firm Core guys, the Flight Club guys, NorCal guys, and all their wings were extremely lighter. They were built to do slower proximity. And it was very hard to chase because I'd be overshooting constantly. I'd have to speed up, get up close to them, then chop the throttle. Well, I'd keep carrying and I'd overshoot and get over the top of them. And then I'd be stalling out because my stall speed is so much higher. Or, higher? No, lower. My stall speed is higher. I stall at a higher speed than they were. And then they would get away from me. And then I'd have to input that power again. And then I'm overshooting and undershooting, overshooting, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm trimmed way back just trying to hold on and not tip stall and fall out of the sky. And that's when I really started to respect the lighter builds. Now, there's a purpose and a place for everything. This wing here will punch through wind at 4.5 pounds. It'll take a slight breeze. It'll take some wind. I can just punch right through because I have that extra power, momentum, weight. Obviously, almost everything flies good when it's dead calm, but a real light wing gets blown all over the place, tossed. I mean, I've flown that little Defiant in wind, and it's hard to keep the wings horizontal. They're trying to flip all over the place. I remember this part of the flight. You can see I'm at 0.3 amps, which is 0 stick. And I'm inputting a little bit right there. I was kind of just feeling out what an approach speed. You can see how fast my approach speed has to be. I'm down to 34 miles an hour, but my approach speed is, to me, it feels fast. That's why you generally, on a heavier, faster build, you start beefing it up even more and making it even more heavy with all the extra skid plates and reinforcements and everything else. And it just kind of turns into this merry-go-round of heavier, and it's not really the answer. A really light wing will bounce off the ground, and we won't have any damage because there was no, the battery's small. Or if I nose in the ground with this, it'll rip the whole floor out and just take the whole nose out of it because the battery alone, I think, weighs like 2 pounds. Just the battery, the 3300 6S weighs about 2 pounds. Running my typical Castle stuff, just because it has that BEC in it that doesn't ever burn up. Okay, so now I think I punch it. This is when So now I am just creaming it, and this camera sucks. Could not see that tree. I knew it was there. Boom. Crashed. Hardly any damage. It was a soft. It looked worse, but anyways. Alright. The end.